It's Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and we've got a major signal for another big storm coming here very soon. The models are lighting up with what could be an absolutely explosive weather event for this upcoming weekend. So let's start talking about that, because this is developing rapidly, and everyone needs to be aware of what's potentially heading our way. Here we go. This is the day 5 winter storms outlook for January 31st through February 1st. That's Saturday and Sunday coming up. We do have a 15% probability of a winter storm anywhere from Myrtle Beach all the way up through North Carolina, covering the vast majority of the state, most of Virginia as well, a little bit of West Virginia, Maryland, all of Delaware, all of New Jersey, a little bit of Pennsylvania, New York, and Massachusetts. We've got all of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and a small portion of New Hampshire and Maine in there, even a little bit of Nova Scotia. This is our first real signal for this storm to be strong enough that the signal is now worth talking about seriously. I think we're definitely going to have a storm develop. The question now is exactly where do we get snow? It does look like it's becoming increasingly likely for the areas that we just discussed. Then from Sunday into Monday, this becomes an even bigger deal for southern New England up into interior portions of New England and the Northeast. So let's talk about what the models are showing, because this is getting really interesting. You may have heard some headlines about a bomb cyclone, and what everybody's talking about is the formation of a very strong storm system as a result of a clipper coming down over the Great Lakes meeting up with some pretty potent Gulf of Mexico energy. Both of these pieces of energy are quite strong, and when you put all that together, we get a very strong low-pressure center developing. We're potentially looking at a 965 millibar low-pressure center off the coast of North Carolina on Sunday, February 1st. That's pretty much hurricane strength in terms of pressure. Of course, whoever ends up on the western side of that system in the cold air mass is going to get absolutely clobbered with snow. According to the latest GFS model, that's mostly over the ocean. But this does drop a tremendous amount of snow in North Carolina around Greenville. This is potentially showing well over a foot of snow accumulation. We're not going to talk too much about specific totals right now, because we all know that's going to change significantly over the next few days, but this shows decent snow accumulation all the way down into Savannah, Georgia. Notice how the GFS does take the low-pressure center offshore and makes it primarily a fish storm, really sparing the I-95 corridor between DC and Boston. Now let's take a look at the European model, which was the star performer or the MVP of our last storm. It did the best job of predicting conditions this far out, and what it shows is very similar to the GFS. Actually, it's the same strength, which is really interesting. Both the GFS and European model are pretty much in agreement here, showing basically the exact same scenario. This European run also skirts the Northeast but dumps a tremendous amount of snow on South Carolina, North Carolina, and Southeast Virginia. This would be like an all-timer for Virginia Beach. This would be an all-timer for probably some southern portions of Maryland as well. We're going to keep a close eye on this development, but remember, don't get emotionally involved at this stage. This is showing 2 feet of snow right now in North Carolina. If by this time, 4 or 5 days from now, it's dumping snow somewhere completely different and you're getting all rain in North Carolina, don't blame the forecast. Blame yourself for getting too emotionally attached to a single model run. Honestly, it could go anywhere. Anyone in this whole area needs to be monitoring this situation, because I could see this going out to sea, and I could also see this coming farther inland. The thing I'm pretty confident about is that it's probably not going to do exactly what it's showing right now. You never want to be in the bullseye 5 days out if you're a snow enthusiast. There's a pretty good chance that this will change from what we're seeing right now. But just for reference, let's take a look at the national blend of models. This is the GFS and Euro plus a bunch of other models all averaged together. You can see that once we average everything out, the I-95 corridor still gets hit by this storm system. We're showing 7 inches of snow in Washington, D.C., 7 inches in Philadelphia, 7 inches in New York City, maybe an additional 9 or 10 inches in Boston on top of the 2 feet you already have from the last storm. There's widespread 6 inches shown for Maine. Once again, this is an average, so the icon, the Canadian model, everything put together, we do have several models that show a track closer to the coast, which is why we're showing snow totals in these northern areas. But you can see places like Richmond, Virginia have higher amounts. Not necessarily because we're confident it's going to snow heavier there, but because more models are showing snow in Richmond, so the average ends up higher. We've got 7 inches all the way down in Raleigh, 6 inches in Charlotte, 4 inches in Myrtle Beach, maybe even an inch of snow in Savannah, Georgia. So that's what we're looking at right now. I think this will change significantly, but this is a good signal for a major East Coast storm. I think we're probably in that 15 to 30% confidence range where it's safe to start talking about it, but it's not safe to get emotionally involved yet. Now here's something that's definitely going to happen. Some absolutely brutal cold is going to come around the backside of this storm system. You think it's cold right now? You haven't seen anything yet. This is actually pretty unfortunate for folks in the Tennessee Valley who may still be without power on Saturday, January 31st, which is still a possibility given what's happened down there with the ice storm damage. Here we go. Another Arctic blast is going to come around the backside of this low-pressure system, probably the most powerful one of the year so far. It's going to plummet temperatures down 30 degrees below average. This one goes way south. We're going to talk about some really cold temperatures all the way down to Miami. This is going to be unusually cold all the way into Florida, maybe even the Bahamas, Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula. It's going to be absolutely frigid across a massive area. Of course, this cold decides to stick around for quite a while. I couldn't tell you the next time many of us are going to see a temperature above freezing, especially in the Ohio Valley. There's no end in sight to this brutal pattern. Here are the potential low temperatures for Monday morning, and these numbers are absolutely shocking. We're talking about 38 degrees in Miami. Just north of Miami, West Palm Beach could hit 34 degrees. We could be below freezing in Vero Beach, below freezing in Arcadia. Sebring could see 31 degrees. Orlando, 31 degrees. We're talking about 28 in Jacksonville, 24 in Tallahassee, potentially. Now, this is of course not locked in stone, but it's definitely going to be extremely cold Monday and Tuesday morning. Get ready for that reality. And we say that's cold for Florida, but we're talking about single-digit temperatures across South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and of course it's going to be brutal up into the Northeast as well. There's no break for us in the Ohio Valley or Tennessee Valley either. It's not going to be quite as cold as this morning's temperatures, but it'll still be frigid in Nashville all the way up to Chicago, back to Minneapolis and Bismarck. Everybody's going to be dealing with severe cold conditions. The only places that are not going to be cold on Monday morning are way over in the Southwest. Everybody else is facing brutal conditions. This is some of the most widespread cold I've ever seen forecast. This pattern is going to persist for quite a while, but notice how the warmth in the west is expected to expand slightly. It's going to expand from just the southwest portion of the United States and potentially cross over into the northern plains. We could see a period where we get slightly above average in Minneapolis and Bismarck, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Denver. But the cold temperatures are sticking around for an extended time from Miami all the way up to Chicago, from Dallas all the way up to New York and Boston. Is it going to stay this way forever? No. We're going to see another pattern flip at some point, but for now we're absolutely locked into this winter pattern. The combination of potential major snow and this incoming Arctic blast creates a really serious situation for millions of people. If this storm develops as forecast and brings significant snow, followed immediately by this brutal cold, we're looking at extremely dangerous conditions. Areas still recovering from power outages could face life-threatening situations if temperatures drop this low without heat. This is exactly the kind of pattern that creates historic winter weather events. We have all the ingredients coming together: strong storm development, ample cold air, and a persistent pattern that shows no signs of breaking. Whether this particular storm hits exactly as forecast or shifts location, the overall pattern strongly suggests more significant winter weather is coming. Everyone from Florida to Maine needs to be monitoring this situation closely. This weekend could bring another round of severe winter weather impacts, followed by some of the coldest temperatures many areas have seen in years. The fact that we're seeing such strong model agreement this far out is concerning and suggests this is a legitimate threat. Stay tuned for updates as this situation continues to evolve. The pattern is locked in, and we're definitely not done with winter weather impacts across the eastern United States. That's pretty much all the weather analysis I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is going to be a very interesting and potentially dangerous weekend ahead. Stay safe out there.